Good morning, everybody, and you are in for a special treat. Kicking it off today on this beautiful Saturday morning is Jamie Dorley, CEO and owner of Nutritional Frontiers and the Weiner Wellness Center, and he has some breaking news on the NF4 Life program, Real People, Real Results. So, Jamie, I'm excited to hear this because we hear a lot about supplements and what we should do, but we very rarely get to see what happens to people's lives and what are the results. So I'm excited to hear this as well.
Well, thanks so much, Tracy. Appreciate everything you've done this week. You've been a blessing to the community at the Wellness Center and so many people listening live and getting the recordings. And, oftentimes people have such strong conviction when an allopathic medical doctor recommends something because they trust the doctor. However, they don't always trust natural therapies or personal training or nutrition. So I want to do today is focus on the NF4 Life program, which you were instrumental in putting together for Nutritional Frontiers, and actually showing everybody real people and real results, right? So we're going to go through about 5 case studies, and the idea is that you can learn from what people have done and what kind of results. So the Weiner Wellness Center and World of Wellness is accepting new patients. The great thing is you can participate in many different ways. All you need to do is give us a call. We are live today in person. You can come down to our event. We have free healthy food all day. We're doing some testing. We have healthcare professionals to answer any question. We're doing samples. In addition, we recommend you make an appointment. You need to give them an opportunity to help you, the healthcare professionals that we have. And we do all different types of therapies, and we customize it, Tracy, based on what your goals are and what the underlying causes are. We don't really care what the cure is, but what is the cause of your health challenge and condition. So to give you a little bit of my background, I've been doing this for 30 years already. So December will be 30 years since I graduated from the prestigious Slippery Rock University. So I have a Bachelor's of Science in Public Health. It was so long ago, Tracy, it wasn't even called public health. It was called community health. So over the years, I worked in health clubs. I worked in sports nutrition, American College of Sports Medicine, personal training. In addition, I worked in international and national sales. And in the last 20 years, I started working on a couple of my main mentors in my career, Dr. Jeffrey Bland at Metagenics and Dr. James Weiner. So here we are now in 2021. I am so blessed and fortunate to work with incredible people, both at the Weiner Wellness Center and Nutritional Frontiers, plus all our fantastic healthcare professionals, their staff, and patients. So when you look at the NF4 Life program, we really goes back to the great pyramid of health. So this is our NF4 Life program in a quick snapshot. So it's all based on the foundations. I mean, Tracy, when you were personal training a few years back, isn't these the type of things you would recommend to your clients?
Yep, absolutely. And, along with more shakes and things at that time. But, as I grew into health, you have to have all the foundations to make it work.
Yeah, but, the water, eating right, the exercise, sleeping, these were all things I was teaching people as a personal trainer. And then I slowly evolved, into better food choices for them. And then some simple supplements, actually, because they were asking me about them. I wasn't really using many supplements other than maybe a multivitamin and a protein powder. But the whole idea is if you build your foundation, just like you do with your house, on solid ground, it will last a lot longer and it'll be much better. So what we want to do is we want to build the foundations with the foundations of health, and then add in things like probiotics and enzymes. Add in things like micro and macronutrients. Add in essential fats and your phytonutrients, both from food and from supplements. And the great thing is you can do all of this in one simple program. So let's go take a look at that. I am a member of the Shake a Day Club. The NF4 Life pyramid will be covered in 2 simple formulas. 1 scoop of Power Cleanse and 1 scoop of Lean Greens covers all levels of the pyramid. What is your thoughts on the Power Cleanse and Greens together?
That is actually my favorite shake combination. It's delicious, it's nutritious, and easy to do. Well, I can do that every day, and I do. So mine's sitting over here in my container. I'm ready as always.
Another thing me and Tracy agree on. Put that
That's
one in
right.
the books,
There's
folks.
two.
So,
There's two.
there's two. Okay. So yeah, we want to have fun with it. This is me actually on Easter morning. My son's watching. That's actually our house, Zach, if you're not sure where I was sitting. But I do this shake because I knew on that holiday I was going to eat a little bit more. So I did my workout, got my shake in just like I do every day. Some days 2 shakes, but almost every day at least 1. And then occasionally I'll do the second shake just to add in there. So when you look at this overall, this is part of what Nutritional Frontiers does. And when you look at our program overall in our company, we are a family-owned, Pittsburgh-based business. We are mission-driven. So our mission really is making the world healthy. And we have the clinical experience of the Wellness Center. So when you look at that, that gives us a unique ability to help improve the outcomes of patients and the practice of our doctors. And people say, well, why about well, they are a business. And if the natural healthcare professional is not profitable, they won't be able to help more people. And that's really the bottom line. So we look at, a lot of people ask about quality. What's the difference on Nutritional Frontiers? Well, every vitamin out there is made in a GMP certified manufacturing plant. So that stands for Current Good Manufacturing Practices. And that's a key thing because that is the facility, not the product. So what that guarantees, Tracy, is purity and potency. So if you have a GMP certified facility, which they all are now because of the regulations, what it guarantees is 100% purity and 100% potency. It doesn't guarantee that the product is good or not for you because you can still make a cheap product in a GMP certified lab. It just means it's using cheap ingredients. This is very similar if you want to use the analogy of looking at the health department, right? The health department, we would all assume, inspects McDonald's just like they do Capital Grille. What's the difference on the 2 restaurants? It's the selection of the ingredients, and that's what we're talking about here. And the difference when you start looking at Nutritional Frontiers versus other companies, or other vitamins out there, is the selection of the raw goods. So when we're looking at that, let's go to the next slide. This is how we create our formulas, okay? So we review all the ingredients that work in our wellness center. So we have the frontline clinical experience. We select the facilities based upon their quality and specialty, just like you should with anything you're doing, right? If you want to buy a truck to use off-road, that's the type of place you'll go buy it from. You won't buy, a luxury car. So we are selecting the manufacturing plant based on the quality and specialty. Some specialize in fish oil. Some are better with probiotics. Some make protein powders. They all don't make everything. Well, then we source out the PRT, the patented research trademarked ingredients. We create the formula. We test the formula. We test it in the lab to make sure we know what's in it. Then we create the label after we test it. And then we bring it out to the Wellness Center to see if we can duplicate what the hypothesis was in the lab. And then we launch on a national level. And then we bring back the results. And that's what we're doing today. We're taking it full circle to show you the concept all the way to the results. Let's go to the next one. So example of the patented research trademarked ingredients are the ingredients we use in stuff like Lean Green and Power Cleanse. So let's go one step further. So here's an example of some of the patented research trademarked ingredients that we utilize out there. And we use over 50 research trademarked ingredients. I know there's a lot of companies that don't use any. A lot of bigger companies, once they've been sold, they discontinue utilizing the best ingredients out there. So this is an example of some of the ingredients that we utilize at Nutritional Frontiers in our formulas. that are available in the Wine and Wellness Center. So when we look at a partner, for example, like Gnosis, they have multiple patented research trademarked ingredients. This is just an overview of some of the ones that they recommend, including the Quadrifolate, which is the active folate. We have the Imodium, which is the patented glutathione. These are just a couple of the ingredients we use by one of our vendors. So let's take Imodium, for example. Glutathione is the most powerful antioxidant in all living organisms. It's the master cleanser of the liver. All the nutrients build up to that. When I say all, I mean all the precursors, right? So all the amino acids, things like dimethylglycine, things like glutamine and acetylcysteine, taurine, all these amino acids lead to production of glutathione, and glutathione typically does not absorb very well orally because it breaks down quick in the digestive system. However, Imodium is a patented research trademarked example of glutathione that has enhanced bioavailability and works really quick and fast. So here's an example of the studies on it. On the left, it shows that glutathione levels decrease rapidly in aging adults, right? So as we get older, glutathione levels actually decrease. And on the right, it actually compares oral glutathione versus N-acetylcysteine versus Imodium. And the Imodium absorbs 140% better than normal glutathione. Now, I know a lot of people want to go with a liposomal. Have you ever tried liposomal glutathione?
Yeah, it doesn't taste very good. It kind of stinks too. So, like rotten eggs.
Yeah. Who likes to eat rotten eggs or smell rotten eggs, right? So the healthcare professionals that have picked up liposomal glutathione, you're going to turn off a lot of your patients. And if you're a patient, don't bother because we've already tried it. It's not something I'm going to do ever again, right? So we have to look for other options. But glutathione is so important, not only for the immune system, the liver, the heart, the brain, so many benefits of glutathione. You need this in every cell. I think there's a misunderstanding, Tracy, from people in the industry and from patients that you only detoxify in your liver.
Right.
However, we do that in every cell in the body. You want to comment on that at all? Because I think that would help clear up a lot of misconceptions.
Yeah, I mean, liver is one of our detoxification organs and mechanisms. It also does many other functions in the body, like produce cholesterol and, a lot of other things. But you have several pathways of elimination. They're called the bowels. So, or the bowels, it's called the bowels, the urinary, the lungs, the lymph, the skin. And that is, comprised of your liver, colon, the urinary tract is kidney and bladder, then you have your lymph system, your lungs, and then your skin, along with other systems and functions that do it, including enzymes and probiotics are all involved in elimination. So it's not the only guy in town doing the elimination pathway.
Exactly. So you do this in every cell in your body. You do it 24/7, 365. And the key is to be able to keep up with your exposure to toxins, right? So depending on your lifestyle, what you're exposed to by choice or not by choice, your body needs to detoxify every day in a healthy way. And there's some simple ways to know if you're toxic, right? The solution of pollution is dilution. So if you're holding water outside your cells and, you got some extra fluid retention, that's an easy way to know. If your fat cells are swelling, I do a simple test every day. What loop am I on my belt, right? Hey, am I a little more bloated today than I'm not? If so, cut back a little bit on the volume of food and turn up your liver support. The other key nutrient we use is quadrifolate. This is an active form, 4th generation of folic acid. Now, we know folic acid from food, somewhat absorbable. Folic acid synthetic from vitamins, not very absorbable. 3rd generation folic acid, much better, and 4th generation, the best. So the key with folic acid is that this is involved in methylation. So there's so many different parts of the detoxification process, methylation is a key part. Think about if you're driving from here to Pittsburgh, Tracy, there's certain parts of your trip where you may encounter traffic. Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
So what the folate does, the active folate, is that it'll get you past some of the congestion or traffic jams in the body, because oftentimes if these processes are not complete, it leads to other problems. Can you talk about maybe one or two things that somebody may be experiencing if they're not methylating properly?
Yeah, well, there's several things. Since what is created from this process is good DNA and RNA messaging, hormones, neurotransmitters, and your immune system. So some of the easier ways to recognize low methylation is low energy, low recovery, low cellular, health. So when you are low on B vitamins on tests, low on iron on tests, you may have mood disruption. You might be depressed or overly anxious. So all of those, which can be indicators of other things, can be low methylation in itself.
Well, that's a great explanation. So you need to make sure you have an active form of folate, even if you don't have that genetic SNP, which is a genetic variation. It's called a single nucleotide polymorphism. Even if you don't have that SNP, you need the folate anyway. And, they look at a lot of research on the active folate. This is actually for pregnancy. And when you look at the couples that were miscarrying, when they add the quadrifolate in there, they had an 86% pregnancy rate, where before, these are couples that were having really concurrent miscarriages. So a huge opportunity for people that are looking to have a child. You need the active folate. That's why it's in our Woman's Complete. This shows that how stable the active folate is to quadrifolic acid. So these ingredients have a tremendous amount of research. So we looked at Imodium, we looked at active folate, now we're looking at vitacholine. This is vital for so many people. We really only get about 10% of what we need to get in. And then pregnant females, of course, only about 8% are getting what they need. So very poor stats when we're showing how many people are getting adequate choline levels in. And the vitacholine is a really unique form of choline because you need this not only for the mother, but the newborn. You need this for brain development for the child, for adults. It has unique ability to help support liver function. It's one of the few nutrients we found that can pull fatty cysts out of the liver and convert them to energy, ATP, adenosine triphosphate. So excellent research behind the vitacholine, a specialized form of choline. Some people may have heard of phosphatidylcholine. This is a advanced form of that. And we didn't stop there. I might be stealing Mikey G's thunder, but we work with Dr. Roger Kendall, a PhD at Food Sciences, for over 20 years. And he actually wrote the book, Building Wellness with DMG. I'm sure you got a copy of this book, of course, Tracy, right?
Of course I do. And I give them out like candy for people. And I'm like, you need a book, and you need a book, and you need a book. Free book for everybody.
You like Oprah with the book club, right?
I am,
yeah, and this is a great book, and it's an easier read. And the nice thing is, it's one of those books that you don't have to read from front to back. You can go and look up certain sections depending on what you're trying to find and learn about DMG. But just think of dimethylglycine as feeding glutathione. This is an incredible nutrient because it's got 5 U.S. patents. This is a study showing lymphocyte or T cell increasing. That's part of your immune system before and after DMG. So this is actually in sickle cell patients and diabetic patients. So they looked at normal patients, and then sickle cell anemic patients, and then diabetic patients. But significant improvement of immune function just by using DMG by itself. In addition, there's 5 U.S. patents. This is one using arthritis and inflammation. That's why, Tracy, we have it in formulas like X-Flame, because it works so well as an anti-inflammatory. There's another U.S. patent on it for the treatment of inflammatory disease, such as rheumatoid arthritis, autoimmune conditions. That's why we're using things like GI Complete. Then there's the research showing the treatment of inflammatory disease. So this actually can help treat. Now, we're not making claims. We're just citing the research. It can treat things like autoimmune conditions, inflammatory conditions, arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, things like that. So one of the formulas we want to look at in the case studies, and looks like we have our old PowerPoint, but I'm going to go roll with it anyway. So this is a client of ours. She's actually a friend of Candace at Nutritional Frontiers. So she was suffering from anemia, and which is a low red blood count or low hemoglobin levels. And she said her red blood count, hemoglobin levels, which is like where they look at iron, is looking even better before than she was pregnant, right? So we have a couple of tests that they ran on her, but her iron levels are low, her red blood count and hemoglobin level were low. So the symptom is that she feels terribly fatigued. When they gave her iron oxide from the medical doctor, it made her nauseous. So suffering from fatigue, we put her on Woman's Complete, and after only 2 months, let's look at the results. So you want to break that down a little bit, Tracy? I hate to put you on the spot, but I will, because on the left is low red blood count, low hemoglobin, and hematocrit, and on the right is increased levels.
Yeah, so this was actually a girl who seemed to be low in iron overall, and I mean, it can be indicative by her blood work here. So this was after she had taken the Women's Complete, and you can see improvements in all of those factors, including, you know, the red blood cell count, which is not indicated. Oh yeah, there it is. It's up there. So it did bring her levels back to a more normal range. And then she did continue on this actual supplement. So it's important that we, one, put it in place in the right forms, but then continue it once you get the results. Because I think people have a tendency to like stop something once it's, you know, once they feel better. And you need to keep going.
And the other thing was she was able to take the Woman's Complete by Nutritional Frontiers without making her nauseous, right? And that was an issue she was having with the iron oxide. So
or constipated. That's another big thing, Jamie, with women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so constipation, nausea, two things that you're probably already dealing with the pregnancy. You don't want to add that in. So Woman's Complete you can take from menstruation all the way through menopause. Really simple. I think she only took 2 capsules per day. It's not going to make you nauseous. Very easy to take vegetable capsules. And it's got 7 patented research trademarked ingredients, including the ones I just mentioned, the albumin minerals, the DMG, and the vitacholine, all key nutrients that are in the Woman's Complete. So let's take a look at the next one. So, this is her results. So happy I switched to your prenatal. Anemia is gone, energy is up, no more fatigue, and the mom and baby are healthy. And, you know, do you want to hear anything else, folks? I mean, this is fantastic that we're able to help somebody at such a young age that was suffering. And very simple protocol, one formulation, 2 capsules per day, and she got fantastic results. So when you look at it overall, the NF4 Life has a great patient guide that comes with it. If you want those, they're available right on our website, nutritionalfrontiers.com. They are free. They're great booklets that outlines the entire program, the NF4 Life program. There's a series of 4: reset, remove, rebuild, and recharge. And these are awesome books that Tracy wrote. And they're very practical and helpful. So regardless of what your issue is, pick up the book. If you want hard copies, we have them at the Wellness Center, and they are free. And again, we look at the NF4 Life. This is the great pyramid. You got to build it with the foundations and then work your way up. And then here's another example of the Remove Complete kit that's going to have all your nutrients in that covers all the pyramid. You go to the next one. So this is really simple because it covers all levels of the pyramid. So if you want something simple, You want to do 1 drink per day and get your vitamins, your minerals, your prebiotics, your probiotics, your enzymes, your food, and your phytonutrients, and essential fatty acids. 1 scoop of each. And Tracy loves it. And you're not a big shake person, are you, Tracy?
Sorry, I'm having trouble with like my tabs. No, I'm not.
That's okay.
But I have your updated PowerPoint, so I'm going to switch it real quick.
No problem. It's
Give me a
okay.
second.
So I roll with the punches. I get punched a lot. You can tell by look at this face.
I don't want to hit you.
That's a lie. You do want to hit me. It's okay. But.
All right. I'm going to switch it. So just you keep talking about the Remove Complete.
No problem.
Give me a second.
So the Remove Complete is a kit that we put together. It comes with the free shaker bottle, free blender bottle. It comes with the Power Cleanse. You can get that in vanilla or the new improved pineapple coconut. A great flavor. And, the nice thing is you get the shaker bottle. You have the instructions on how to take it. You have a recipe book. You have the Holistic Truth magazine in there. So it gives you the entire program. You can buy products from anywhere. That's the difference between Nutritional Frontiers and going to Amazon and things like that, is that Nutritional Frontiers, you're going to get the entire program versus just a product. So, when you're looking at this overall, let's go to that one. That's fine. Right. So you have the, go back one more, and then we're good. Okay, here we go. So it's actually from Jacqueline Sheeden, the nurse practitioner that was on the show this week. And she had a patient come in with severe brain fog. Only 29 years old, Tracy, was suffering for 7 months. And she said, I can't do it. Jacqueline says, you can. Put her on the Remove Complete program. And let's go to the next one and take a quick look. So she had a lot of stress, she said, from COVID, wasn't feeling her best. She wanted something simple and easy. And Jacqueline put her on this program. Look what happened in less than 2 weeks. Actually, less than 1 week. The brain fog was gone. Now, people may take this for granted, Tracy. What would happen if she had gone to her allopathic primary care physician who had 3 minutes to talk to? What would they put her on?
Yeah, probably an antidepressant or something along those lines.
Exactly, because they didn't have time, the knowledge, or the tools in their tool belt. Jacqueline took over an hour with her in the first appointment, realized that she needed some good nutrition, she needed a simple program, and she needed to do a cleanse, but a doctor's supervised cleanse, and that's what she put her on. In less than a week, brain fog is gone. And it wasn't just brain fog, it was severe, that she was suffering for 7 months. If she didn't get this help, God only knows where she'd be in a year or two. Good, let's go to the next one. So we went through this a little bit already, but just a quick review. Anemia, right? Red blood counts down. We'll fast forward a little bit. But that's just some of the symptoms you'll have. And Women's Complete, our biggest launch of 2020. It continues to be a lifesaver for people. Tracy, you want to comment about your friend at all that was on the Women's Complete?
I have several, but the one that was like kind of like, whoa, there's something to this supplement. I had a friend who had extreme eczema on her hands and all the way around her mouth, and it was like broken, chapped, and bleeding. And beautiful girl and a mom, like she didn't have time like for her hands and mouth. I mean, as a mom, you're either yelling at your kids or I'm just kidding. So I just put her on Women's Complete and some good fats because she had been through every cleanse, every this, every that, right? And I thought, man, this girl just needs simple, and she's been cleansed out to the max. Maybe she's deficient. And that's all we did. We did Omega 2800 and the Women's Complete. And she sent me a picture. It was like 2 weeks later, and her hands were completely better and her mouth was completely cleared up. And sometimes we look and we try to like cleanse people, right? All the time. Not that we don't need that, but I mean, after a certain amount of time, I think you need nutrients as well. That's why I love the Power Cleanse. At that time, the Power Cleanse wasn't like kind of launched yet, but Women's Complete has been an amazing game changer for me.
Yeah, the thing I love is you can take that with the liquid fish oil or soft gel, and you have all your micronutrients that you need in 2 formulations, right? So it covers almost all the pyramids. Let's go to the next one. So this is weight loss. This is the number one goal of most people in our country. I was even shocked when I was doing a little bit of homework for this. 2/3 of Americans are overweight, adults, and maybe more in some areas of the country. A third of the kids are overweight, right? I think there's multiple factors in this, right? You look at the sedentary lifestyle, you look at the poor food, you look at the double, incomes. Both parents have to work, so there's a lot of processed and quick food and drive-throughs, right? And the other thing is, the kids don't play outside like they used to. And I was talking to my friend about that recently, and he says, "Well, remember, you had 5, 6 kids in your house." He says, "We had 4 in my house. The Burdens had 12 kids." He said, "You only needed 2 or 3 houses, and you could play a whole game, right? Or you'd play a lot." So nowadays, with having smaller families, more spread out, sedentary lifestyles, both parents working, and the amount of processed food, it's a recipe for disaster. But people want to lose weight, but they're really not sure how, or they don't really follow the proper program and stick with it. I look at eliminate the toxins, right? Because the fat cells, when they get toxic, they swell up. And I'll show you an example with this guy. He didn't look bad. He's actually a guy we do some work with. He's a financial planner. He had high stress in his work. He said that he was trying to lose weight but couldn't. He was working out. And we talked to him, high stress, high toxicity. So I says, "Well, why don't you try a cleanse?" So I gave him the Remove Complete kit. And I didn't expect, I do that a lot for people, and I don't usually expect to hear back from him. But we go to the next one. The fat that's toxic, right, is very difficult to break down, because what comes first, the fat cell or the toxin? And Dr. Jeff Bland and Bob Rakowski did research on this, and they showed that they proved actually their hypothesis that if you don't break down the toxin first, the fat cell won't break down. So when you look at this, we got to look at what are people eating. Let's go to the next one. And I think people have been brainwashed in our country, right? You got to remember the movie Super Size Me? They said if you had breakfast, lunch, and dinner with your family every day, which most people don't, and you did this for a year, you'd have about 1,000 meals together. And if you talk to them each time, Tracy, about healthy eating, you'd have 1,000 opportunities. At the same time, they would have over 10,000 from the food industry coming at them. So it's a very uneven playing field. Things like Wheaties, called the breakfast of champions. It's really not. It's really sugar and processed wheat. That's all it is, right? There's no vitamins and minerals in there. There's no protein. There's no good fat. There's no good fibers. So the worst thing you can eat, folks, for breakfast is cereal. All the other choices are bad too. Muffins, donuts, breakfast bars, toast. Even eating just fruit for breakfast is no good. You need to have a balanced breakfast, because whatever you eat is going to tell your metabolism one or two things. One is store fat. The second thing you can tell the body is to burn fat. And people report back that they feel mentally better right away just by doing Power Cleanse and the greens for breakfast. Let's go to the next one. Here's a simple breakdown. You got 19 grams of carbs with 5 grams of fiber. So only about 15 grams of net carbs, 17 grams of vegan protein, the good fats from coconut oil. It's loaded with activated vitamins, chelated, patented research minerals. You have things like the active folate we just talked about, and DMG. This is all in the shake. Somebody said the other day, "Oh, well, this is expensive." I asked her what she had for lunch. She said Panera. So she paid $10 for lunch. She can get Power Cleanse and greens in for less than $5. So it's all a matter of how you look at it in the perspective, right? So very inexpensive, high value food. And this is food. It gets you all levels of the pyramid just by doing a scoop of each. Let's go to the next one. So here's my buddy. All right. Dan said, I'm not feeling good, high stress, my body fat's up. We put him on no sugar, put him on the Power Cleanse and the greens. He cut coffee out. So he's getting stronger. And here's his testimonial, Tracy. In 30 days, lost 30 pounds in 30 days. I didn't think he had that much weight to lose.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's telling you how toxic he was. And let's go to the next one and look at his testimonial. Yeah, so I want to thank you again for introducing me to the cleanse powder and greens powder. I've been using them every morning. I recently switched my diet along with the powder to increase my workouts. Happy to say I lost 30 pounds. Wow, right? Great stuff, great company. I love what you're doing. Nutrition is important, and there's so many scams out there. You guys are doing it right. That made me feel good, right? He's been through the scams, right? He's been through all these different programs. Is there any shortage of programs on the market for weight loss, Tracy?
No, there's 10,000 books on diet and nutrition out there. And, the reason there's so many books is, it's not one magic way. It takes lifestyle change. It takes nutrient density. It takes reducing toxicity. And sometimes, and most of the time, you need a coach.
Yes. And I think all the books are recycling the same information, but they can't all sell the same book. So let's go to the next one and take a look at, elevated liver enzymes. Wow. That's really scary because, elevated liver enzymes, meaning your liver is working overtime. You want to talk about that a little bit? Because some people may get elevated liver enzymes and either they get super scared or they just ignore it.
Yeah, well, most of the time, elevated liver enzymes are just your liver is either congested or it's getting bombarded with too many things and it's overwhelmed. And so your body's going to give you a signal. It's going to try to produce more enzymatic action to get other processes and functions to work. So it's not doing anything wrong. It's not like one day your liver woke up and was like,
Right.
Today I'm going to be defective. It's responding to the environment you're putting it in. And the second thing that happens then is you get more immune response, like more macrophage activity. And that means you're getting more inflammation now. So you get the elevated liver enzymes, and that goes to systemic inflammation. And now you got a systemic issue. But it doesn't mean that your liver's broken. It means your body is responding to something that you may be doing it doesn't like.
Yeah, I equate it to when you're outside working and you're sweating, right? Your body's working overtime, right? It's okay short term, but then it's got to cool back down. The problem is that people progress to a fatty liver, right? And then eventually you can have damaged liver, cysts in the liver, cirrhosis. So let's take a look at the next slide. So his liver enzymes at the beginning, and this was just done in 2 months, they were 57. They should be somewhere in that 5 to 35 range for a male. And his were 57. The key thing was he got him tested. He's actually a healthcare professional. And he went on this program. In less than 2 months, they normalized. Now, what if he didn't go on the program and he didn't get his liver enzymes tested? Maybe they just keep slowly going up over time.
Right.
Maybe he was exposed to something. Maybe it was high stress, right? It could have been too much processed food over the holidays. Could be medications. There's so many factors. In fact, we have somebody that we're very close to. Her liver enzymes went to 600 after she got the shot recently. Now, they won't put that on the news, but we'll give it to you here. So let's go to the next one. And there's his results, right? Normalize in less than 2 months, but a simple, healthy, and therapeutic program. And think about all the other things that he benefited from. He lost a little bit of weight. His energy went up, blood sugar balancing, right? Blood pressure. So many other things benefit just by making that simple adjustment. And then here's the greens breakdown. You have all the phytonutrients in there. And there's so many superfoods on the market. I will put our greens up against any greens on the planet. First of all, just by taste alone. And then let's look at nutrient concentrations, density. We have that proprietary detox blend. This actually has the emollient in it. It has the DMG in it. It has vitacholine. It has active folate. It has non-corn, non-GMO vitamin C. It has the prebiotic, probiotic, enzymes, fibers. Have you ever seen a greens that had this concentration of nutrients?
No, it's awesome, and it tastes delicious. So it's very easy to do, you get a very high compliancy with patients, and it works fast. Quick answer.
Coming from somebody who's not easily pleased, She loves the flavor. Me too. I'm very picky with the flavors. This one is awesome. So great job by our product development team. So let's look at the last case study. I know I'm going through these quickly, but I want to make sure I got through them all and had some time if you had any questions. So this gentleman had elevated PSA levels, right? So that's something called prostate specific antigen. So it's a test that they run that when they show that the prostate could be enlarged, sometimes it's inflamed prostatitis, sometimes it could be prostate cancer. I think they scare guys to death when they get their PSA tested. It should be somewhere between 0 and 4. And oftentimes they think that, you know, when it's over 4, that it is possible cancer. Did you see anybody with elevated PSA levels?
Yes, I have a very close personal family member that had elevated prostate levels, and we used the formula you're going to talk about and also ester cleanse, then normalized it.
Oh, great.
Not making any claims, but I am.
No,
I'm just kidding.
real people, real results. We're not making any claims, of course. But, folks, this is the type of results you can get when you follow the NF for Life program, including some, as you said, supplements. Supplements support the healthy diet. So this is a harmless protein. However, when it's elevated, you know, it could be a lot of causes, right? You know, it's everything from, you know, issues with inflammation. I used to see a lot in the clinic when I was doing the consults, a lot of issues with prostatitis, right? Either an inflamed prostate or an infection of the prostate or urinary tract. So did you see that be very common?
Yeah, that as well as, you know, I'd always ask men like what they do. You know, a lot of cyclists will have PSA elevated because they're sitting on that all day. Like people that have chronic constipation and that pressure around that area can cause a backflow or a blockage of, you know, normal excretion, and you get that secondary infection. So before you run and, you know, get all the treatment and all the stuff and all the things cut out, like think about like, you know, what's going on and what led to this issue. And then try to find other ways first, you know. And you're right, Jamie. They scare men. They scare them. Man. It's like all of a sudden they use the big C word, or, you know. And I think yes, our testing has gotten better, and people are getting tested more often so that we can offset this issue. But again, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have cancer. You know, you just might have some inflammation. So second opinion matter.
One of the oldest known to man natural therapies for a healthy prostate is ejaculation, right? So if that prostate's working and everything's flowing, then that's one of the best things you can do to keep it moving and keep it healthy, right? And I've had a couple of close friends of mine and that had they were diagnosed with prostate cancer, both in their late 40s, early 50s, and they both elected to get surgery to have the prostate gland removed, right? And they both told me immediately when they woke up, they could tell something's different. Unfortunately, both of them have had issues with it. You know, had urinary frequency and accidents. You know, so they have issues where they had to wear a diaper the first year. They weren't able to perform sexually. You know, there's a lot of side effects from that. So I'm not telling people what to do, but wait to get the surgery later, right? 1 out of every 2 men will have prostate cancer if you live long enough, right? So eventually you'll get it. You know what to do therapy now is if you're older? It's to leave it alone. Unless it's progressing at a high rate, they say to leave it alone, because if you stir it up, that's going to create more problems. And when you get the surgery, you're not getting the full amount of cancer out anyway. There's always some left behind, and it's very damaging. Think about the quality of life, right? Late 40s and early 50s, you're like halfway through life, and now you have you know, the quality significantly damaged of your health. So, you know, there's a lot of things you can do that would help it. In fact, we had a case in the wellness center, actually the pain release clinic. This goes way back, Tracy. And a gentleman came in, he had prostate cancer, We didn't even see him as a patient. And he wanted to share with Dr. One, and he cured it on his own. And we asked him how. He said by eating concentrated tomato paste. He had read about lycopene. Yeah, he cured it on his own. So that's one of the key ingredients we use for prostate health is, again, it's a lifestyle. So I tell people, eat pumpkin seeds, right? Flax seeds. Have a low anti-inflammatory diet, right? Eat foods that are going to help, like cruciferous vegetables. And here's the results that you can expect, right? So his PSA was creeping up over time, this gentleman, from a low of around 2 up to about 3.23. And just by taking the PSA at 2 capsules per day, his results went back down. So 2 caps a day, he decreased it from a 3.23 down to about a 1.79. So about a 50% reduction in PSA levels. Now, his was slowly creeping up over time. We're not sure exactly how high that was going to go or what the ramifications are. But this is another example, Tracy, as we talked about yesterday. Don't wait until the house is burning down, right? That's why you have smoke alarms in your house. That's why you wear seatbelts, right? That's why you look both ways before you cross the street. That's why you do all these things, because you're trying to prevent. And luckily, I was in college, and I had a great professor. He was a medical doctor. He became my advisor, Dr. Fleming Fallon. And Dr. Fallon was a really interesting guy. He was a third-generation medical doctor. And when I asked him why he came back, I'm thinking, he couldn't hack it in medical school or business. He says, I couldn't get through to somebody who was 50 or 60 years old. I came back to school to get in your heads as students. And that was where my whole career changed, right? I had that and an autoimmune condition. And Dr. Fallon, he showed us studies on seatbelts. Why did you have to get a seatbelt? Why would they fine you for not wearing one? He went through all of it. So his big thing was prevention. Yeah. And he looked at everything across the board: cancers, heart disease, diabetes, arthritis. And his whole thing was, if I can impact one person, I'd like to look him up soon. He impacted me tremendously because it taught that prevention is the best cure. And you can't wait. What did you say the other day about waiting to something?
Waiting to target a disease over targeting our health is the issue with our current state of healthcare, or, well, disease management, really. So, and I've been thinking about it. I'm like, I think what happened, Jamie, was in the last 50 to 70 years, we had such a dramatic change in our food sources, in our quality of care, our pathway of care, our education of how to care, that it went also one way. And, the generation before that, my mom's generation, her parents, they didn't face the diseases. They trusted their doctors because they only went when absolutely necessary. And then we got so sick through this pathway of degradation of our food, of our health, of everything, that the generation after them, right, all started to run to the doctors. And the medical community stepped in on everything. It stepped in on pregnancy. It stepped in on breastfeeding. It stepped in just everything. And now we're at this model where everybody relies on it so heavily. Now we have to change in the next generation of, okay, like, this isn't working. This block of 70 years didn't work. Let's change. I think there's an awareness happening. I think people are getting it. You can see the functional medicine people rising up, the naturopathic rising up. I think it's going to take some time to change the mindsets of, you don't need to run to your doctor first. He's your last resort, not your first resort. Prevention is the best medicine, and you are responsible for your health. So it starts, like you said, at the education process, not at the doctor's office. If you're at the doctor's office, it's too late. You hadn't learned anything. So, yeah. Yeah,
and think about some of the people we just showed examples of. Dan, I just said, do 1 shake a day for a month. That's it. He said, I said, try to eliminate sugar and dairy and junk food. He said, okay. And in 1 month, he changed his entire body. In 1 month.
He changed his life. Yeah. Like everything. That program may have offset a bigger, badder name later of a diagnosis. That may have looked like 30 pounds to him, but that was 30 pounds of toxicity in his body.
It's interesting you say that, because I saw a post after that. that he was on LinkedIn. He's a financial planner. He does our 401k program. And he mentioned on his post about if you want financial stability and health, you need a healthy body. And I was like,
Right.
wow. Yeah. Look how quickly he's changed, because he realized you can't just have one without the other. Like, you need it across the board. And I think that's where people need to go back to. Make it simple and easy. It's not a punishment. Reward your body. And when you start feeling better, remember, these food companies, the biochemists there and the flavoring experts, get paid millions of dollars to get you addicted to the Doritos or the Ho-Hos or whatever you like to eat. They're getting paid a lot of money because they want you addicted to these. That's why when I was at my kid's school, when Zach he was probably first, second grade, I walked in there and I was like, what are you guys doing? This is, what do you mean? This is, you have 4 soda machines in the school. This is, oh, well, we got, I says, what do you mean a lot of money? We got $100,000 from Coca-Cola.
Wow.
I said, $100,000? I says, for a lifetime of future customers? I said, you guys sold your soul. I was really upset about it. I said, you're not making it any easier for the parents, because if we're walking in here, we want to drink. You got 4 soda machines. The kids see it as normal. So you got to change what you're doing, folks. It starts with the food. We're here all day today. Give us a call, 922-WELL, 922-9355. Stop in. I see Bada Bing and the crew outside feeding people for free. We're here to help you.
Yeah, and I just wanted to comment on one thing before we end. You know, the word priority up to the 1900s was singular. It was priority. There was no priorities. You can't have priorities. You have a priority, and it should be health. You know, if you're not prioritizing your health first, you'll have nothing else. You won't be able to work. You won't be able to play. You won't be able to vacation. You won't be able to spend time with your kids and do all the things you want to do. So your health needs to be the priority. So you can't have more than one priority. That was made plural when we became a very busy, multitasking, and unfocused society. And that's what happened. We took it and we said, these are all priorities in my life, and everything got all disheveled. So the word's priority.
I love it. And I add one little addition to that. It's mind, body, and spirit.
That's right.
Right? Just because you look good, you may not be healthy. Right? So you got to be mind, body, and spirit together. And when you take that approach, then you're going to see that in all aspects of your life.
Yep.
So thanks, Dr. Tracy. Thanks, everyone. We appreciate it. We'll see you guys today, and have a great day, and God bless.
All right. Stop.